Hi, it's Angie, and I've got some more of my Pandora collection to share with you. I'm using a few pieces to list 4 things that I think are better to pick out in person when it comes to Pandora items. Obviously, if you're ordering online, you may not have a choice and you'll just have to see what arrives in the mailbox. But if you can possibly get to the store, a concept store or a store-in-store to see certain items in person, it will probably be a better experience for you. So the first Pandora item that I think you should pick out in person, if at all possible, is anything that has a natural stone. So obviously when it's not a lab created stone, and these gemstones are examples of that, there is a lot of variation in what you can get. So these are the gorgeous Birthday Blooms rings, and I was able to get all of them in person, and even then there was a lot of choice in what I got. So the July birthstone is this pretty orange, and when I got this ring, I had wanted to get one from July, and then I also wanted the January stone, which is the garnet, which is obviously red. But when I got home from the store, I realized that I had actually received 2 orange stones. So one was this shade of orange and the other one was a deeper orange. But the more I looked at it, the more I decided I don't think that's the January garnet. I think I've received 2 orange stones. So I did finally confirm that with someone in a different Pandora store, and she was able to exchange it for the actual red garnet stone for January. So obviously these are very different, but there was a lot of confusion when it came to the deeper orange one that I had. So if there's a natural stone, it's better to pick it out in person and make sure it's the shade that you want and is actually the ring that you want or the stone that you want. In much the same way, this is the March Aquamarine Birthday Blooms ring. And as you can see, even though it's supposed to be aquamarine, which would you think is kind of a blue-green color, it's a very almost opaque white clear stone. And this can be confused with the June moonstone ring, and I find it really depends on what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing something blue, then a little bit more of the icy blue comes out, and if I'm wearing something gray or white, then it can look a lot more pale than blue. So I have verified that this is indeed the aquamarine, but there is a lot of variance in it. So you probably want to pick that out in person. Another thing with the Pandora rings is that the size can vary depending on the actual structure of the ring. So I have some that are 5s, some that are 6s, some that are 7s, and it really depends on the style of the ring. So whereas I usually take a 6 on my ring finger, this is actually a 5 in the Birthday Blooms, and this one is a 6, so it fits pretty large. But then I do have some thicker rings that are much tighter, and if the band is wide and thick, then I need a larger size. The second Pandora item that I suggest is better to pick out in person if possible are the Muranos. There is a lot of variation in a Murano from each to each. These are handmade, and especially if you want a pair, you really should try and pick them out in person. As you can see, I have 2 of the rose looking glass charms, and they're quite different. One is kind of fatter and shorter, and one is leaner and taller. And the size of the bubbles, the clarity of the pink, there's quite a bit of variation in that. And maybe that won't matter to you, but if it does, it's better to go and pick them out yourself. I have a rod here of other Muranos, and you can see like this white looking glass is teeny tiny compared to some of the other ones. And the glitter Murano has streaks of gold glitter in it, and in some cases that doesn't really show up. So once again, it's really important if you can to pick out your own and make sure you're happy with that. The next thing I think is important to try and find in person is any charm that has oxidization. I have found, especially recently, that charms that are supposed to be quite heavily oxidized and may even show that in the picture may not be when you get it in person. This crazy clip I ordered online, and this one is actually the second one because the first one I got was pure silver and had no oxidization at all. So I did go back to the store and pick out this one that has a little more of the oxidization in the grooves where the dot detail is. And I found with the one that I had received from online shopping, it didn't have any. So these little raised dots didn't show at all, and I thought it made quite a difference. The other thing I've seen is the Raindrops safety chain, and this one is really old and quite heavily oxidized in the loops, whereas the new ones, which I've seen in store, have hardly any oxidization at all. And I think a lot of the detail is lost when you don't have that difference between the oxidized part and the pure silver part. And finally, I think if possible, it's really important to go to the store, at least initially, to try on bracelets. I have different varieties of bracelets: a leather, an open bangle, an essence bracelet, then the traditional snake chain bracelet, and even a bangle, and they all fit differently. So where I'm a 7.1 in the snake chain, which is sort of middle of the road, I'm a small in a bangle and a medium in the open bangle. I take a small in the leather and a medium in the essence. So for each line of bracelets, there are different choices in terms of availability for sizes. So in some cases, it may not be exactly what you need. So with the open bangle, I find that a medium is a little too big, but the small is too small and too tight, and I wouldn't be able to get any charms on it. So I have gone with the medium, and I find if I stack it with a leather bracelet, then it kind of holds it on my wrist a little bit better. But for me, comfort is number one, so that's why I went with medium. With the bangles, I find small is perfect, and I can still fit quite a lot of charms on. I like to do my bangles about almost halfway full, so this is perfect for me, and I can wear it comfortably and have the charms remain on top. So I do have a medium bangle as well, and it's way too large. I could just pull it right off my hand. For the snake chain, I find a 7.1 is perfect, and I can load it with charms. And as long as I keep it about 3 or 4 in each section, and they're not too large, it's very comfortable. The first snake chain I ever got is a large, and it's way too big now, and it's just not comfortable because the charms don't sit nicely, and once again, it falls too low on my hand, so I don't like that. For the essence bracelet, this is a medium, and I only have 4 charms on it right now, and it's comfortable. It probably hangs a little bit too low on my hand, but because I wear it on my left hand with my watch, it's perfect, and I wouldn't want it tighter. I have tried the small, and it's just way too tight. Whereas the leather, I do like a small, and it's double wrapped and very comfortable, and of course it's soft and natural, so it does kind of warm up with your body and adjust a little bit. And I don't wear too many charms on my leathers. It's recommended about 5 to 7, I believe, so it's perfect to wear with maybe 3, 4 charms, and very comfortable. So that's a few more items from my collection, and I just really wanted to share my experience with selecting certain things in person versus receiving them online and being disappointed. So if it's something that's natural or each one is individually made by a craftsperson, then there is going to be variance in the way it looks, and you'll probably want to pick that out yourself. And in terms of the bracelets, once you've established what size you are in the different kinds of bracelets, then you're good to order online and you can take advantage of that convenience. But I'd say for the first time, it's really a good idea to go and try them on in store and figure out what size works best for you. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful.